And welcome to our little Inventor tutorial. I'm getting started and just looking at a few of the features and hopefully eventually drawing the stirrup, which we see on the screen now. First of all, just looking at some of our navigation tools, we do have this large navigation wheel. However, I found it to be very hard to use. Again, the hand to move the object around the screen, similar to AutoCAD, but with each of these we have a few options. Zoom all, zoom window, which I tend to use quite a bit when I'm mucking around with it, but when you select zoom all, it's basically an easy way to zoom in and zoom out. We have our universal sort of navigator there. If you're outside of that circle, it works one way, and if you're inside of that circle, you can turn the actual object. Again, with these things, it's really important that you just practice and become better at navigating around your drawings. I find that sometimes it's really hard to get your drawing in the position that you want it. Okay, so there are basic navigation tools for maneuvering around. So what we're going to do is come up here, and this is going to bring us to our Create New File screen. Now, with our new files, there are a few different file types. First of all, the IPT that you'll find is a part. Now, when you're drawing in Inventor, it's a good idea to have the individual parts drawn separately. Then you can bring them all in to the one assembly. So for this one here, we're just going to select a standard millimeter part. You'll notice that I've come to this screen and I'm dealing in metric straight away. If we come down a little bit further, we'll see that assembly, which is IAM, is where you bring your parts together. Further down, the drawing pages, where you can print out or assemble a drawing and then print it out, either in orthogonal or isometric view, etc., with your dimensions. And then down here we have IPN, which is a presentation. So if you want, you can have a series of parts and you can explode those parts and bring all those parts back together. So for what we're drawing, we want to select standard IPT. Okay. Now, when you're saving stuff in Inventor, it's important to have all of your files in the one spot, because when you have an assembly, Inventor looks for the individual parts and then puts them all together. If one of those parts is missing, if it can't find one of those parts, it'll come up as an error. So you'll notice that lots of our tools are quite similar to AutoCAD in respect to our drawing. But the first thing that we really want to do is create a 2D sketch. At this point, you might want to go in and save your drawing. Just going to save it here as well. I guess I could save it as a stirrup. I've already got that one, so I'm just going to save it as support. On my desktop, okay. So I'm back to creating my 2D sketch. Now, we have our different planes. The three planes that are represented in our 3D view. And if we go over here, as we highlight each of the plane, it will respond on the corresponding access point or origin point. So we have the XY plane, we have the YZ plane, and we have the XY plane. And same as on these particular axes, you can track them in this left-hand sort of series of points. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my plane, and then I'm going to start the base of our support, which is 75 by 75 in. So I'm just going to come up and draw a line across 75 and then down 75. Using my little zoom tool there, and across 75, and then up to form a square 75. Now that kind of drawing is kind of it's not really recommended in Inventor, but I come from an AutoCAD background, so that kind of drawing is second nature to me. But really they want you to use these constraints here to constrain your drawing. I sometimes find them quite difficult and I over constrain the drawing, so I find it a lot quicker just to draw a simple square like that. I could have used the rectangular tool up here as well, but I just find it easy to draw that in. And then I'm going to use some tools to try and center this drawing up a little bit. Get the center, and I'll put the center in there, and I'll do the same thing. That's my center, so that my square is always in the middle and nice and centered. Now I can see now that all of my sides are blue, which means the drawing's constrained. And then I can go finish sketch, and there's my first outline